ones. So when you do an assessment, you go to each of those 5, since they're original collectors, and say, hey, what's your information on Iran's nuclear program? And the conclusion was that she said Iran is not currently building a nuclear weapon. The supreme leader has not reauthorized the weapons program that was suspended in 2003. And the intelligence community continues to monitor for any decision by current or new Iranian leadership to pursue one. So, and the CIA assessment remains the same. So that's why I'm saying this, for Ratcliffe to come out now and claim that, oh, no, CIA now has a completely different point of view. Well, wait a second. What is the specific intelligence you've seen in the last 12 months that has caused you to do a complete volte-face, turnaround, reverse course?
Yeah. It seems J.D. Vance is coming to the scene again. I don't know what is the meaning of that. Not only he made 3 or 4 interviews recently in the last 2 days, and today he was on Megyn Kelly's show. And here is what he said, Larry, about Lebanon on her show.
Mm-hmm.
Hezbollah?
It is a regional peace deal. It's going to include the Gulf. It's going to include Israel. It's going to include Lebanon. The idea is this is a true regional peace deal because, again,
how do we do that
if
without
the Iranians
Netanyahu?
comply,
Sorry, forgive me for interrupting.
No. The idea is that if the Iranians comply, then we are going to have a true transformative deal for the Middle East. And if not, they don't get any economic benefit.
Yeah. By the way, she asked about Israel. About it.
And so what about Netanyahu? Did he ever answer the question?
No.
Yeah.
He didn't mention, I think he's so afraid because it seems to me that J.D. Vance is preparing himself for 2028. This is
I agree with that. And he's also being prepared to be the sacrificial lamb if this thing goes sour. He'll be the scapegoat.
That's why he's coming to the scene. Maybe with the ongoing negotiation, I don't know if they're going to get something positive with MOU, because as today Israel was attacking in southern part of Lebanon. They bombed, and we had the Iranian military announcing more than 84 times Israelis attacked Lebanon since the ceasefire started. So I don't know how the Trump administration can manage the situation in Lebanon, because as you've just seen, Donald Trump is attacking Benjamin Netanyahu or Israel. You're not capable of doing the job. That's why we have to bring Syrian government in. I don't know what is the capability of Syrian government. Basically, he's talking about making some sort of civil war in Lebanon because they're not capable militarily to go against Hezbollah.
Well, okay. So a lot of this, again, it shows the lack of understanding, lack of history. So back in 1975, when the civil war started in Lebanon, and I don't recall what the proximate cause was, but it did boil down to there was sectarian strife between Christians, Sunni Muslims, Shia Muslims, and then the Alawites was a form of Islam, and the Druze, another sort of form, a blend of Christianity and Islam. So at that time, the Bashar Assad's father, Hafez al-Assad, he sided with a Shia group later called Amal. And, so they were working with, the Syrians were supporting them all and meddling in the civil war back in 1975 and all the way up through the attacks on the Marine barracks back in 1983. So, for at least 8 years. And so the leadership, Syria has always been involved, meddling in Lebanon. Now, do they have enough, on paper, do they have enough strength to go in and take on Hezbollah? Oh, hell no. But what I found fascinating, and I don't know if you did, was the basically claim or the response reported from Al-Jilani, who basically said, no, we're not doing that. No. Thanks for the invite. That's nice to know, but we're not doing that. Not at all.
But he's going to meet Al-Jilani in his visit of Europe in G7. Right now he's there. It seems that there is some sort of communication between Donald Trump and Syria, and Turkey involved in that communication to bring Al-Jilani to Europe to meet with Donald Trump.
But Jelani's already said no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what is his understanding.
I think he understands. He'd be signing a death sentence for himself. Yeah. I say, hey, thanks for the invitation. No, boy, I'm really busy here. Got to hop too.
Larry, today Donald Trump had 2 meetings with the head of Qatar, the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim, and later on with MBZ, the head of UAE. Both of these 2 meetings were focused on how to resolve the issue in the West Asia with ongoing war. Both of them were supporting the deal. They said, we are here for the deal. We are prepared to invest. Basically, that $300 billion that they're talking about coming from these countries, GCC countries. And here is what Sheikh Tamim of Qatar said.
Couple of months or weeks, I think that wasn't we were not interested in, what are the opportunities, economical opportunities in Iran. Our interest, both of us, was to, first of all, to find a deal to stop this war. This is our main target. But looking at the economy and the opportunity, I'm sure there are going to be huge opportunities. And, as I said, this is a very important momentum to keep working like that to reach, let's say, the final deal. Up to that, Iran will be, of course, open for any kind of investments, and I'm sure there are going to be huge opportunities. But to be honest, we never thought of it. Our target, is to trying to find a deal.
Well, they're going to need something because we blew them up.
Yeah.
See if the banter went on for a while,
But the importance of what he said is that we have to move on. We have to do something about the case of the media. We cannot continue with this endless war. They're so desperate. They don't want this war. That's why they're forcing the Trump administration to do something about it. I am sure that Israel is not happy at all with what's going on right now.
Well, again, we don't know what's the UAE meeting with Trump, I believe, is more important than Qatar's for the simple reason that the UAE has been most closely tied to Israel. And yet the other day, last week, it was reported that on the 9th, I guess, which was last Tuesday, Qatar flew to Israel, allegedly carrying $3 billion, $12 billion, 20, some incredible amount of money.
Flew to Iran.
Flew from UAE to Iran to supposedly pay it. Now, that was reported in 3 different newspapers, sources, and it was strenuously denied by the United Arab Emirates. So, but the point was there was still high-level diplomatic interaction between Iran and the UAE. Which then Qatar, what are they going to talk about? Well, they suffered massive damage, and they may be telling the United States, per what I was hearing, that, hey, it's been fun, U.S., but we're going to go our own way, and you need to close your bases and get out. So, and I think I've heard that report from the Pakistanis, who are reporting that these are conversations both with the diplomats, but it's all, they're not just making it up. So I see Qatar, Saudi Arabia distancing themselves from the U.S. military. UAE now, for whatever reason, went from being a shill, SHILL of Israel, to now actually being an opponent or pushing back. I don't see them begging for more Israeli air defense. I think they realize Israeli air defense, they probably got charged some money for it, and they realize it's crap. It doesn't work.
Bloomberg reported today that in their estimation is in 2 months, Qatar can get on track with their LNG, because you remember Iran destroyed 17% of their capacity of their,
Right.
their production capacity. But it seems that they can get back in 2 months. I don't know how optimistic is that.
Yeah, it may be. I recall Stanislav, who's worked in the oil and gas industry, indicated it looked like the damage that was inflicted at Ras Laffan, is it? The fields in Qatar are the physics suffered serious damage. That is just not a matter of shutting it down and opening up another time. It's going to take a while to get all the repairs in place.
Larry, how far the United States can play with the case of Iran and MOU, considering the ongoing war in the southern part of Lebanon? Because sooner or later, we may see some sort of escalation on that front. People are getting back to their homes, but Israel is not backing down. And Benjamin Netanyahu said today, yesterday, and the day before, we're not going to leave, we're not going to withdraw from Lebanon. That's not going to change. We're not part of MOU. We were not part of the negotiations.
Well, and we'll find out if Iran means what it says. You know, I think, based upon what Iran has previously said about protecting the Lebanese people and wanting to stop Israel's attacks, that if Israel doesn't stop and Iran doesn't retaliate quickly and decisively, that this will keep going. The killing will continue, and Iran will have discredited itself. That's where the credibility is so critical. Don't make promises you can't fulfill, and if you do make the promise, then by God, keep it.
How is that going to influence the Trump administration and the response from because today JD Vance was somehow bragging about how influential they have been on putting pressure on Iran not to respond to Israeli attack last time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that is, this again will bring the pressure to bear on Israel. Trump is going to come back to him and say, "Hey, I warned you." So I think what would be effective. I don't think Trump will do this. What would be effective is Trump would come back on and say, "Okay, I warned you not to do this. You've done it again." So effectively, immediately, we're withdrawing all U.S. tanker fleets and combat aircraft from Israel. Have a good day. And then start that process moving, at which point I think Israel would come around to its senses real quick, because it realized it can't be the sole. If it lives in that neighborhood and is trying to protect itself without the U.S. full support, very, very limited what they can do.
I think if he's willing to put pressure on Israel, he can just give the green light to Turkey. Yeah. Stop sending oil or gas to Israel. Iran, if they attack Lebanon, you can respond, and we're not going to help Israel to attack you. This is if he's really willing to do something on that front, he has to do this, because he's not going to be able to defeat these Zionists in the United States and in his administration. Let's assume he's not part of those people. He's honest in the way that he's expressing himself. Let's assume that, which I don't believe in that. Yeah. But let's assume that, and he can get help from Turkey and Iran to put Israel in its place.
Well, let's go back. This has been going on now for almost for 51 years, the Civil War back and forth. You know, and Israel has made several entries, exits, entries, exit, entry, exit. This will be another exit if I think Trump's got it in his power to force them out. And if once forced out, they'll be hard pressed to get back in without U.S. support. Yeah, U.S. support in this is crucial, but the fear I have is that the U.S. forces are so compromised now by the association with Israel. They're not going to be able to actually easily separate themselves. So this will derail the signing ceremony for Friday. If I had extra money laying around, I know which way I'd bet.
Yeah. Here is what was reported, Larry. A significant number of Israeli military vehicles have withdrawn from the town of Khiam in southern Lebanon, heading toward the Sarda and Al-Amra area. This movement could correspond to an operation to redeploy Israeli forces or signal the initial stages of a more extensive withdrawal from the sector, according to Lebanese Al Akhbar correspondent. Al Akhbar is so important, it's so valid. I was talking with Professor Marandi, when it comes to Lebanon, one of the most important sources is Al Akhbar from Lebanon, basically, Al Akhbar of Lebanon.
Yeah.
And if that's happening, it's significant. I don't know if that could be a positive sign. They're withdrawing from one part to other part, going to other part of Lebanon, or it's significantly important because they're withdrawing from Lebanon.
It's a way to say, hey, we're working on complying. You're asking, and we can't do. We're not miracle workers here. We can't do it all in one day. That would be their argument. They're going to try to string this out. It's a way to delay where they can claim that they're complying. And from Iran's standpoint, they're going to look and say, yeah, they have the Golani brigade was apparently withdrawn yesterday. So for R&R, rest and recuperation. So this, as long as there is still some movement, I don't see, and movement in the sense of Israel withdrawing personnel, even though they are continuing to attack in other areas. I think that Iran will continue to hold its fire. We'll see how many, but as is typical of the Israelis, they get out of control and they're going to do something more and more violent. Then they'll cross the line, and then Iran will feel it has no other obligation, no other choice but to retaliate. So we'll see.
If they achieve something with Iran, Larry, how is that going to boost J.D. Vance's position for 2028? And how is that going to be helpful for the Trump administration later on for J.D. Vance? Because it's going to be a success for the administration, I would say, because withdrawing from Lebanon is a huge task. It's not going to be something easy. Many people may find it delusional, even thinking of it. But if they achieve it, what does that mean for the administration?
If this stops the war and restarts economic growth around the world, then Donald Trump will take all the credit for it. It is Donald Trump's idea. This is his baby. If it turns into a disaster, Trump will say, this was J.D. Vance's proposal, and I listened to him. I made the mistake. I listened to him. It's all on him. He'll blame J.D. Vance. That's the way it works. He gets the credit for everything that goes right, and Vance gets credit for everything that goes wrong. Not really a healthy relationship at all.
Do you see the moment Donald Trump throwing Pete Hegseth under the bus?
Oh, yeah. Hegseth is easy to do just because he's such a dummy. But it'll be tougher with, say, Ratcliffe It'll be tougher with Marco Rubio. Getting rumored to, they're all three rumored to be gone. And then his own national security team. His national security advisor is Marco as well, Secretary of State. So, could ostensibly can him. It's just I don't see. It doesn't make Trump stronger. It just reinforces the notion that, man, he made crappy choices in the first place, and then it will help those people get new jobs with the Zionist lobby because they were seen as being so pro-Zionist that they got to be good people. They're part of us.
Netanyahu's position in Israel is getting worse.
Yeah.
And one of the main problems is the war on all fronts. And as he mentioned, in Lebanon, in Gaza, and the worst one, which was against Iran, that is totally failing, not achieving any objectives, is putting Iran today is more powerful than it was before the war started. That's a huge loss, strategic loss for Israel.
Right.
GCC countries are getting closer to Iran somehow. They have no other option but to get closer to Iran or make a better relationship with Iran, because the whole calculation with the Strait of Hormuz has changed. That's why the strait was mentioned in the MOU based on Axios and Iranian sources. So this is the new reality. And go ahead.
Yeah, well, no, I just say this has been in the works for several years. It was March of 2023 that the Saudis and Iranians signed, basically put all their past conflicts behind them. They've been fighting a proxy war against each other in Yemen, and now they came together. So that relationship has stood up. Even though Iran, bombed inside Saudi Arabia in the past, as well as Prince Saud Air Base, and is bombing inside Qatar, but its diplomatic relationships with Saudis are, still intact. Then it's reached out to Bahrain. Bahrain, I think, will be a tougher nut to crack simply because the ruler there is going to have to be taken out, and so I think that's what will happen to him. He may get arrested with the assistance of the United States, of all things. It could be surprising. Qatar, both Qatar and Saudi Arabia have told the Pakistani, sources that they're going to be out of this relationship with the United States in 9 months to a year. So that'd be bad news for Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar and Prince Saud Air Base in Saudi Arabia. And then it'd be up to the UAE. See, do they want to be the only place in the Gulf region that's standing up on behalf of Israel? May not be a healthy kind of relationship.
Do you see anybody in Israel replacing Benjamin Netanyahu and being as powerful as Benjamin Netanyahu has been during his, I don't know how many, 16, 20 years of administration?
Yeah, no. But let's also understand that even if whoever comes in and is, quote, stronger, maybe more, appears to be more moderate, doesn't irritate the hell out of people like Netanyahu, nonetheless, most likely they're going to have a position vis-a-vis Gaza and the Palestinians that the Palestinians are Amalek and need to be destroyed. So I think whoever is elected is going to be farther to the right of all the good folks that are on, crosstalk, or that with YouTube and the social media accounts. So we'll have to, the way this message handling is going to go in the next few days is Trump is trying to keep the conservatives at bay. is while keeping the actual substance of the message secret. Now, will he be able to pull that off with the Senate, with Congress? I don't know. It was, I guess it wasn't you. Someone else played me the video of Mark Levin talking about the Constitution. That wasn't you, was it?
No, it wasn't me.
Yeah, he's talking
I
about.
don't blame Mark Levin's videos.
Well, yeah, that's a good healthy choice for you.
It's so toxic.
Yeah, but he was saying that any agreement that Trump signs with, say, in this case, Iran, has to be treated as a treaty, and therefore has to be brought before the Senate and debated, and the Senate has to approve 2/3. Well, I said that would be a great idea in terms of, but you'd have to work the Senate to get their support. But yes, that kind of agreement, backed up by the Senate, would make it really a strong agreement, one that's enforceable and could be enforced in U.S. courts, as by virtue of being an actual treaty, not just a memorandum of accord. But I noted, while I agreed with Levin on that, I didn't hear him making the same constitutional argument about Trump's decision to attack Iran and start a war, because the Constitution also has something to say about that the president basically can't go out and start killing whoever the hell he wants, that it's an obligation to go to Congress. Only Congress can declare war. Well, it didn't do that. If he, let's think about it. If Trump had done that and the war had actually never started, Iran would be in a weaker position today than it is. I think it's in a much stronger position by virtue of that happening, because what it did is Iran discovered, hey, we control the Strait of Hormuz. We didn't realize we had this much power. And then they take on the U.S. Air Force and the Israeli Air Force and withstand these horrific bombings, and then are able to retaliate in ways that is very, very costly for both Israel and the United States. The whole law of unintended consequences is at work.
Larry, before wrapping up, it seems the only option that could replace Benjamin Netanyahu is Naftali Bennett, because there's
yeah, and he's basically calling Netanyahu a pussy.
Yeah.
You wimp, you chicken that, so whoa. So that's what I mean. You take Netanyahu out of the picture. It's not like you're replacing him with some moderates who say, they're going to show up with Yoko Ono, and they'll be saying, all we are saying is give peace a chance,